Hey guys, how you doing? It's KJ here from the Scariest Movie Ever Made and RiggedReality.com. And I got yanked into the movies a few days ago by my lady friend. She wanted to go see The Purge. I was hoping to see Star Trek myself, but we wound up seeing The Purge. And, glad I did and sad I did. This turned out to be truly one of the most evil films I've ever seen. If you're not familiar with my channel or my work, please check some of this stuff out and just understand that what I do in my videos a lot of the time is I try to show you the language of symbols, language of symbolism, patterns, and just kind of, really, for lack of a better term, this matrix we're in, this devilish system, if you will, that we're in. And that goes back to connections with the Illuminati. If you're not familiar with the Illuminati, do some of that research as well. I've got plenty of videos on my channel, and there's tons of information out there you can find. Check out some Manly P. Hall, Albert Pike, Aleister Crowley, read some Fritz Springmeier. I mean, there's plenty of stuff out there, and you can find out the truth behind our hidden controllers, okay? So, that being said, we see a lot of these same messages and programs in our TV programming and in our films. It's called social engineering. It's also called predictive programming. Movies aren't just for entertainment, though they entertain you. They're also meant to send messages. Okay, they're also meant to change your attitude, to change the way you see things, to change your life, and typically not for the better. Okay, so these are the kind of things we explore, and these are the kind of investigations I get into. So please check some of this stuff out. So The Purge, an incredibly evil film, all about the Illuminati. All right. Some very common themes in here that I've seen in other movies, and I'm going to compare a few, and I'll kind of show you some of that stuff as well. So The Purge, if you're not familiar with it, the idea is that once a year in America, and this is in the future, in the near future, once a year they allow all the citizens 12 hours to get out and essentially exercise their own demons, as they say in the movie over and over again, to unleash the beast. Okay, you hear that over and over again in this film. It's purge time to unleash the beast, Or the whole movie anyway, like I said, it's a very satanic idea. Even when we walked out of the movie, we both looked at each other. It was like, you know what, I could totally use a shower right now, It just makes you feel grimy, dirty, and nasty, okay? So The Purge, unleashing the beast, okay, they let the people do this once a year. That alone is a very nasty and, in my opinion, satanic idea. Right there, they're essentially telling you that, society's better off with this, and that's the whole premise of the movie. I mean, unemployment's down, people are getting along, everything's cool, crime rate's basically non-existent, and it's all because once a year they let you get out and get all this evil out of you that, of course, we all have, according to this movie. We're all evil. We all want to kill secretly. We all want to rape. So let's give them 12 hours, a year, and let them just go ahead and do it, and everything will be cool. Nasty idea. And like I said, you see these kind of themes pop up in other films as well. I'm going to show you, though, in this, there was a major Illuminati connection, all right, that could not be denied. And like I said, this stuff pops up in movies all the time. And I'm going to get to that big one here in a second. I'll just cover a couple other things, though, real quick. Big thing in this movie, too, they're always talking about is it's our new founding fathers, they call them, okay? I call them the Illuminati, but in the movie they say our new founding fathers, have created this system, and they pray to their new founding fathers, and they do rituals for their new founding fathers. Trying to be as spoiler-free as possible here, but there's actually a scene in the movie where some of the bad guys are surrounding 3 innocent people, and they start this whole spiel about the new founding fathers and why it's a good thing to cleanse and to purge and to murder other people. And that's all about human sacrifice, okay? Now, this idea has been around since the beginning. Human sacrifice has been going on forever. And there's a lot of different words we can use for these people. You can say Satanist, you can say pagan, you can say witches, you can say Illuminati. And they all have their own different variances, but essentially it's all the same thing. These are Satanists. These are people doing the devil's work, okay? Other movies I've seen this in, there's many, but I'll just kind of cover a few. Here's one right here. It's called Black Death. You may have seen this. It's about a bunch of Christian knights during the Black Plague chasing down a witch that they believe is causing it. And of course she is. Well, they find her, and she's living in a community of Surprise! Pagans! And of course, here she is, not looking so pretty anymore. That's kind of her real face, you know, her evil face. But even in this film, you know, at one point they capture all the good guys, and the only way they'll let them escape is if they give up their faith in Jesus Christ and God. One of the guys does, and of course, as soon as he does, they pull him out of the cage and they hang him and kill him. So, another example of this human sacrifice idea. Another one I didn't put in here, but you can check out, of course, is the Hunger Games. It's another idea of human sacrifice. Once a year, human sacrifice. It's a totalitarian Illuminati regime in that film. Yet once a year they'll cleanse. You know, it's a blood sacrifice. Blood sacrifice comes up in this movie as well, The Cabin in the Woods. I saw this a while back as well. Here's another one of the posters. Of course, you got your One Eyes Illuminati stuff going on up here. Here's one of the pictures that's actually inside the cabin. It shows a bunch of people murdering sheep, and there's wolves around ripping the sheep apart as well. Again, human sacrifice, you know, a blood sacrifice to Satan. At the very end, you find out that it really is all about human sacrifice, blood sacrifices to the ancient gods, they call them, the ancient ones. And of course, that's a nod to the fallen angels, the Nephilim, the giants that live underground, okay? And there's one of their hands right there. It's enormous, popping up out of the ground at the end. Another movie I saw many years ago with this in it was called Dragnet with Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd. There are a couple of cops, supposed to be kind of a comedy. But even in that movie, the bad guys are the pagans, right here. People against goodness and normalcy. Ha ha, right? But pagans are real. So anyway, people against goodness and normalcy. And of course, even in that film, again, blood sacrifice. Near the very end, they're sacrificing a virgin. So we have these connections. Again, these are common themes, and you know, these things pop up in many movies and TV shows. You see this quite often. Something else I wanted to kind of share with you is that the theater I was in, it's just something that we noticed, but at least I noticed first. But you know, when the lights dim, all this stuff here turns red. It's pretty creepy looking. But I've said this in other videos before too, and again, you know, I've mentioned this in some of my videos in the past. I've got a degree in screenwriting. I worked in New York City with Fangoria, with Trauma Team. They do like blood and boobies type movies. I worked in LA for a while, worked in TV production on a production level in Hollywood for quite a while, had an agent, wrote a bunch of horror, submitted a bunch of horror stuff all over the place. So I've got a background in horror. So when I tell you The Purge is evil, I mean it. I mean, I know evil, I know dark when it comes to films, and I've really gotten out of it over the years. I guess I became kind of hypersensitive to it once I got into my research on the Illuminati and kind of the truth around us. And you know, it can be scary once you find out what's really going on in our world and how dark things tend to be. At least for me, I don't want to be exposed anymore to horror films so much and scary TV shows and all that. I don't want to see it. But one thing I've said in other videos is that, you know, as the church is falling, and it is, we're leaving the fourth age, the age of Pisces, and entering the fifth age, the age of Aquarius, which will be the one world order, the one world government, the Antichrist system that all these Illuminati and Masons for years have been building. They're also the people who tempt us. They tempt your mind. They're also the people who kill us with chemicals and food and whatnot. Again, this is plenty of research on this. But as the church falls away, as people are losing their faith, as atheism and darkness, altogether really is on the rise. When I say darkness, I mean just being shielded from the light. People are falling away from God and Jesus, falling away from church. But as this is happening, of course, people are still showing up at the modern-day cathedrals, these movie theaters, in record numbers. The new cathedral, the new church, right? Look at this, the new church, the new cathedral. So we're spending our money and we're still going to the movies. You know, we're falling away from God and Jesus, but we're going to the movies to be programmed by all this darkness, all this nastiness. These movies that are so foul, profane, vile, not just horror, even these wacky comedies. Most of these movies have got really nasty messages in them, and really it is meant to control your mind and control the way you think. So let me just go ahead and jump off here to the really, really big kind of Illuminati connection I found in The Purge. I mean, there's a few little things in there. A little boy in the movie has a little toy called Timmy. It's a baby doll. It's just from the waist up, from the waist down, it's like a tractor, so it's a remote control thing. But Timmy is a half and half face, like Two-Face from Batman. But one side of his face looks kind of robotic and burned, almost like Terminator, and the other side's kind of normal, but of course it just has one eye, and the one eye glows red throughout the whole movie, and that's Timmy. So there was one little Illuminati symbol. Of course, right here is the poster with the one eye right there. But the big one is this. It's we'll play a little game here. If you had to choose a day, let's say in the Purge, that the Illuminati would allow everybody to run free, kill, murder, rape, and whatever, what day would be significant to the Illuminati? Many of you aren't going to know this. Some of you may. If you want to pause and think about it, go ahead. But I'll go ahead and break it down for you. The day that everyone is allowed to go out and sacrifice, okay, is of course March 22nd, 322, all right? And that number is very significant to the Illuminati. It's associated with the Skull and Bones Society, the American branch of the Illuminati. Many of our presidents have been members. Right here, you got George Bush is in there somewhere, but this is the Skull and Bones Society, 322, all right? 322, Skull and Bones, March 22nd. Is that just a coincidence? Of course it's not. And then we got this right here. Of course, John Kerry and Bush were both members of Skull and Bones. And remember, they ran against each other. Who'd you vote for? It really doesn't matter. By now, guys, most of you should know that left versus right paradigm is completely and totally false. It's really meant just to trap the argument, keep the argument lower, while on the top all the big moves are being made, okay, by the real controllers. So there's 322. There's Bush and Kerry. All right, none of that matters. Remember, your votes don't matter. Okay. So anyway, going back here just a little bit, I'll show you one more connection I thought was really interesting. Here we are. 322, all the stuff about blood sacrifice, but 322, March 22nd, there's also another very significant thing that happened on that date, and that is right here, the Georgia Guidestones. If you're not familiar with the Georgia Guidestones, do a little research. 1980, a man who called himself R.C. Christian walked into this place down in Georgia and commissioned the building of these stones. They're all set up with, with star systems and whatnot. There's certain holes in there where you can see the sun at certain times during certain solstices. Again, it goes back to the pagan stuff, the witchcraft stuff, the Satanist stuff. But on these guidestones are the new 10 Commandments, the 10 Commandments of the Illuminati, if you will. All right. And of course, right here it said sponsors were a small group of Americans who seek the age of reason. All right. But check these out sometime. Read all 10. It's pretty interesting stuff. Do some research on this. It's really creepy. But at the very top, the number one rule for the new 10 Commandments is to maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. So again, guys, back to depopulation, back to human sacrifice. I'll show you a couple other pictures here. People have been beating this Georgia Guidestones down for a while. It got so bad, people kept going over there and just abusing them, that they wound up putting cameras up, and I guess they're guarding it now. But so 322, guys, March 22nd. Big Illuminati number. Also, like I said, in the movie The Purge, it's right there, March 22nd. They allow you to go out and do your blood sacrifice. So that's it, guys. In closing, again, just try to see beyond the veil. Don't accept things for for face value. There's messages here. They're pumping tons and tons of millions of dollars into these movies and TV shows and video games and all this stuff for a reason, and it's not just to entertain you, all right? They're trying to control you. They're trying to control our minds, okay? They're trying to control our thoughts. Sometimes these movies are they're, again, predictive programming. They're kind of showing you what may come. I'm not saying a purge is going to happen. I think this probably falls more into kind of a social engineering idea. Because another thing you see in this movie, too, it's all about, the fights between the classes. The bad guys in this, spoiler alert, are a bunch of rich kids from a Harvard type college who are going around and killing homeless people. So we see a lot of that kind of talk going on nowadays too. So this is what it is, guys. I'm just trying to show you a few things. We're posing questions, and keep your mind open. Research this stuff, okay? Research this stuff. Be very careful what you take in. All right. Thanks again for checking out the video, you guys. I'll talk to you soon. I got some more stuff in the works, and take care.